All right, welcome back, guys. It is TRE live show number 58. 58. You know, every week we're like, wow, I can't believe how far we've gone. But, you know, it is a feeling that I have every week. We are here with our smoothies.
Smoothies.
Oh.
I know.
Okay.
I just save a little bit for the cheers.
You
Like
serve it to Nate just a little early and he drains the whole thing.
I know. I was thirsty.
As a chef, though, I can't complain. So we are going to talk a little bit about weight training today for marathon runners. We're also going to dig into, we have a couple surprises for you. First of all, we are doing our giveaway differently this week. We're going to have 15 winners.
15 winners.
And the way it's going to work is if you hit the Gleam link down below in the description, you can sign up for free. As always, we give away something every week for free. One grand prize winner will get our free $95 strength program for runners, lifetime access for free, and then 14 other winners will get it for $29, which is like 70% off. Yeah.
So we want to spread the love. We normally just are only able to do one or two winners. We wanted to reward you guys because you guys are here every week watching. You're supporting us, and we wanted to support you in return. So there we go.
Let's do it. Yeah. So, guys, of course, we are running. Also, going to give you an update on our training. You want to do that first? I'm feeling that right now because my hamstrings are like a tight ball.
They're vice. Let's do a little update, and then let's do a little shout out of everyone that's in the community. So we are
week 7.
We're in week 7, and literally I think it's 9 or 10 days for the San Francisco Marathon second half. And I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm excited because it's not a trail race. I feel like I have a shot here.
You got a shot.
Yeah.
How's the running been this week? You said the hamstrings are all tight.
Man, so I have this kind of dual program going on of trying to increase my flexibility while training for the half marathon, and my hamstrings are definitely like my spot. I will say that the shin splints and lower leg problems, as I've increased my hamstring flexibility, have definitely been alleviated. So I'm not experiencing any shin splints anymore, which is great. Yeah. I am doing, you know, I did a 13-mile run on Sunday that felt pretty good. I was like 7:15, I think it was, you know, roughly, and then that felt pretty decent considering I wasn't
just casually drops that, you know, 7:15, no big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of gears. I'm still working on that. My race pace will be like a 7:12. So
I hope so.
Yeah. And then this morning I did Tuesday's workout was pretty easy, right? It was like a 6-mile run.
Tuesdays was kind of chill. I think it was a little recovery from the weekend, and then I did. Did you do today? You did today's workout?
I did the mile workout, the mile repeats.
The 4x1 mile.
Yeah.
I did a little abbreviation of that yesterday. I ran with Mario.
Nice.
And
nice and
Nora. Slow. Yeah, exactly. Nice and slow. Our friend, our speedy friend Mario, and we ran one of our favorite, 7-mile trail loops on the Yolanda Trail in Marin. But what I did was I kind of tamped it down a little bit to 4x5 minute efforts.
Okay.
Because I am racing a 10K effort. Or 10K on Saturday.
Oh, right.
Get a little speed edge on
He's getting a little, I don't know if you're going to speed edge on that trade.
Oh, wait, okay. So I have to tell you guys this story. Yeah. So I'm getting ready to meet Mario on this run.
And Mario Fairley is the same guy we've had on the podcast, in the podcast. So we are recording this. If you guys are listening in audio only version, hopefully it'll be live in a few weeks.
Baby stepping it, guys. Or baby stepping it. So we're in the Ross Commons, this beautiful little like Marin park that's very close to these trails.
Right.
And Nora, my dog, like she knows on certain days when things are going down.
Right.
So we drive into the city on certain days, she's like, oh, I get to like run around, I'm excited, and she starts to get all amped in the back. And she knows when I drive here on Wednesdays, we're going on a trail run. So she's
stoked.
The stoke is high. So I have her in the park, and I'm just kind of warming up, waiting for Mario to run over and get me. And she's not on leash in the moment. I'm hoping she like takes a poop before we go because I don't really want to carry that while I'm running for 7 miles. and Mario shows up. Now there's this hedgerow that is a good it's pretty high. It's probably like a solid 4.5 or 5 feet high.
Okay.
And like immaculately trimmed hedges. And Nora sees Mario doesn't know what to do. So instead of run around, she tries to clear the hedge bush and then lands in the bush.
Because she can't see how deep it is.
She couldn't see how deep it was. I don't know if she thought it was like a hard surface on top. So out of the corner of my eye, Mario comes and I see my dog spring into this bush. And then she's like a turtle on her back, like stuck, so I have to pull her out. And then there's this giant divot in this bush that's like perfectly, immaculately cleaned in this like super Tony neighborhood in Marin. And
well,
anyway. But then we did our run.
How was the run?
I was really good. I got some good efforts in. I'm getting ready. It's probably not okay, guys. So we always make the balance between things that are.
What is your 10K effort?
Well, so this is going to be very different 10K race because it's like 3 miles straight up Mount Tam and 3 miles down. Right. So it's like the speed. It's going to be like power hiking. This is the Table Rock race we did yesterday. So I actually talked to Maury about it this morning. He's like, I don't know if I would do that. But I make a little trade-off. One, we're making a little family trip to the beach. Erin is coming down and she is going to race. And she doesn't like going to the beaches in Northern California because they're cold and windy and, of course, sandy.
This is all true. All beaches are sandy.
I know.
Okay.
This is what I have.
I'll take two. This is my wife. Two out of those 3 complaints, Erin, if you're watching. 2 out of those 3 might be legitimate.
So I'm tricking her into going to the beach and be like, we'll take Nora. I got her, so she'll probably either be running with me or chill in the car, and I'm gonna run the 10K version of this thing. Okay. And then we're out there and we get to hang.
All right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good Saturday. And it's like, is it a little suboptimal? I'm also excited to get on a race start line. I haven't been on a starting line yet this year, guys, so I'm kind of itching to do that.
Have I been on?
I get a little leg up, competitive leg up on this guy. So those are the updates. Let's say hi to the good internet people.
You know what I was thinking is I want to get shirts that says "Beat Nate" on it. What do you think? That'd be pretty good, right?
That'd be pretty good.
Let's see if I can cook that up.
It wouldn't be
Beat Nate.
It's not as hard as you think.
And then just put a big TRE logo on the back. Maybe TRE logo on the front too.
Oh, that'd be funny actually.
Beat Nate.
So we got all of our crew coming in here. David, yo fellas, QWE0610, yes. Edward, what's up, Edward? Irina, hello. GDK Mouse from the UK is normal. Fran, hello from Provo, Utah. Have you ever been to Provo? I never have.
No. I think I've driven through it actually. Yeah.
MCR. Hello, sir. While running my legs
painting. A couple of new people in here.
We got Roko Koro G'day.
I don't recognize Irina. Have you been here before? Irina from MIC. Awesome. Scooby Runner, welcome back. Hello from Ohio. Where in Ohio are you? I can't remember. Is it Columbus?
Columbus, something like that. Who else
Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call you Tiger because
Good
that is a hell of a
from
name.
Nottingham.
Nottingham.
I know.
Carrie Hale.
The old Tiger Spreadsheet.
Dave Friswell. Our old friends.
Carrie.
Paz.
Kyle. Roger from Auckland, New Zealand. Roger Gill.
What time is it in New Zealand right now, you think?
It's tomorrow. It's the future. New Zealand is in the future. That's all I know.
Tell us what happens. Oh, man.
Man, they have flying cars over there.
Do they?
You didn't know that? They don't have flying cars, but they have a sweet camper van game.
You know, we're not centered in this frame.
I was trying to center this a little bit more this way.
What do you towards you is really what you're saying.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Let's see here. We got a few of you guys. Hey, if anyone is here watching for the first time, we always love to know, and we love to know how you discovered our channel.
Yep.
You know, drop a little note down below. Should we get to the topic at hand?
Let's do it. Guys, weight training for runners, or specifically for marathoners.
Just for sorry, I blanked out for a minute, guys. I totally. Hey,
like, okay, would you like to talk on this topic?
In my defense, it's Thursday. It's one too many early mornings, and every once in a while, the synapses like misfire.
Let me just tell you something. He says it's on Tuesday as well.
I do say it on Tuesdays.
All right, so this is an often like contested topic, mostly because people, you know, one, when you're marathon training, you are usually like putting in a fair amount of mileage, and so not only is from a time perspective is weight training kind of a bear sometimes, but also you can't pretend that your weight training is not going to affect your running the next day. So you go into for a hard weight workout, the next day you're going to feel it, and you probably have a running workout that you're going to be doing that day.
So I have a fun idea, and I kind of did this a little bit in our Monday video that is sparking today's conversation. But let's come up with our best arguments against weight training. Don't do it.
Yes.
So I like you start with the marathon training where you have you got a lot of miles to run.
Yeah,
and
timing.
You got a busy schedule. You're putting a lot of money at races, potentially coaching and running shoes. Why would you spend more money and more time on something?
Bulking up. I'm really scared of getting huge.
Don't want to do that.
Lean.
How is getting bigger and stronger gonna make you a faster runner?
Right.
We need to be lighter.
Truth.
What else we got?
I really feel that way. Let's see what.
It's not specific work, right? You know it's really the running.
More running
that
is
matters.
faster running.
Exactly. More running is faster running. I need to run more to be better. And if I'm doing anything that's not that, what's the point?
Sure. What else would I say about not weight training? I might get hurt.
Yes, it's a higher injury risk, especially with movements I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Why would I, mess around with something that has a higher risk factor that doesn't really have that much of an upside?
Yep. The people in my weight training class at the gym can't run fast.
Ah, that's good. You see all those guys that you see lifting, and you're like, you guys don't look like good runners.
Yeah.
So why would I want to do what you do? Because I'm not going to look like a good runner either.
I laugh at that kind of thinking, but the truth is, I think that way sometimes. Whenever I'm out biking, and I see these like guys that not to really dog on people, but like huge guts, and they are sometimes faster bikers than I am. Like they're just very powerful, and I'm like, I don't know, what am I aspiring to here? I used to be in this pretty competitive biking group when I was biking in South Bay. And the people that were faster than me definitely did, if you saw them on a regular day, did not strike you as athletes.
Yeah.
Just body shape wise, just their general lifestyle. But man, could they put a lot of power. Yeah, we would go,
athletes
come in all
shapes and sizes.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be all shapes and sizes. Let me tell you that.
Craig likes his shape, and he wants to maintain that shape, which I totally understand. What are you guys saying here? Miss Erin Moody, my wife, she says,
fatigue you for your
training runs.
Yep.
It's totally true. Like, if depending on the type of work you're doing, it can totally trash your runs, and then you're just, the experience of running isn't fun. Your legs are always garbage. So it's like you don't get that good a speed 100%.
No Patone says, who won the giveaway from last week? You will find out in about 35 minutes.
Yeah, those strike shoes.
Yeah, the strike shoes we actually do last week's giveaway. We start it and then we give it a week so everybody can enter, then we do it this week. So this week's giveaway, we will actually do the drawing next week, but that way we have a drawing every week, but we also give time for people to enter who are not watching live.
Totally. Do we get most things? I would say maybe another one would be there's so many modalities out there.
Yep. How
do you know which one is the right one? It's just shit's confusing.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, TRX, yoga, Pilates, is it all strength?
Should I do yoga for runners or should I do strength for runners?
Yeah, another good one is, especially if I'm doing a class, they don't care that you're training for a marathon or half per se. Their programming is what we call city bus programming, where people jump on and jump off all the time. They're not following this 10 or 12 or 16 week progression that's getting you somewhere, right? So it's why am I gonna do this, and how is this gonna mesh with the training that is very, very specific?
Yeah.
So those are, I think, are a lot of arguments for not against waste. Hopefully we guys have talked you out of it.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the positive elements of it. I mean, not some of those actually have, I think they actually have
legit validity.
Yeah, especially the timing and the effect on your actual running training. I think as with most things, the pros and the cons are an important part of balancing something out.
Yeah.
But what I really enjoyed was hearing Dathan talk about the way he takes care of his body, which included strength training, because he's I often think that for the middle of the curve, which is pretty much everybody who's watching this video, right? Unless you're a professional runner, in which case, call me.
You guys are not middle of the curve. You are all special snowflakes.
Well, I don't mean on a okay. But I mean, like, if you are running, if your race pace is somewhere between a 5:30 and a 12:30, right? You are in the majority group of runners out there, and for a lot of us, the things that we face are, am I going to get injured during this training? Like, can I sustain my pace? And can I get to the point where I can put in the mileage, put in the time, put in like the workouts to become fit enough while still maintaining my body? And it was interesting to see Dathan, who not only is a special athlete from a genetic perspective, but he has put in a tremendous amount of mileage. I mean, possibly more. He's like the 1% of the 1% in terms of mileage.
Edward and I were talking about this the other day as we're getting ready for our upcoming 5K program, which is super badass and should be ready by August. Right, Edward? We're going to get ready by August.
August 1st.
But we talked about this notion of runner's age. And the idea that it's independent. Like, let's say you are 45 years old and you just picked up running 3 years ago, right? You're still in that nascent beginner runner stage because you're 3 years old as a runner versus the 45-year-old who's been running for the last 20 years, or the 25-year-old who's been running competitively since they're 10, right? They get 12 years on you from a running and competitive standpoint.
Yeah, and when you think about the middle of the curve, like all of us who are basically trying, we're not professional runners. Like, it was interesting to see a professional runner talk about how much work he has to put in just to kind of maintain his body. And he is not big, he's not bulky.
And you mean maintain his body as in maintain his ability to sustain a high level of running, training, and performance?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the things that he has to worry about is not just can I put in the effort and put in the time. That's kind of table stakes. But can he sustain that effort, week after week, year after year of running 100+ mile weeks?
Now, what's interesting with Dathan, and this is a commentary on our running culture, his hand was somewhat forced in a lot of those areas, right? Due to a lot of crippling injuries and several stress fractures. He's a lot. Guys, I've probably broken a bone 5 or 6 times in my life. A lot of times when I was younger, like trying to chase my older brother over a bike when I was like 4.5 or 5 over a jump with my bike, soccer, skiing, other things like that. I've never had a stress fracture, knock on wood. This dude has had, how many? 5. Have you?
Yeah.
You've had 5?
I think so.
You've had 5 stress fractures?
1, 2, 3, 4. I know 4. I'm trying to think of the 5th one. Yeah.
So anyway, his hand was forced in terms of trying to train at a really high level and not do the work that supported himself. 5. So one of the values for strength training, especially when we're starting to see incidences of stress fractures potentially increase, is that we literally need some meat on the bone to take some of this impact. A thing did we talk about this in last week's show on running shoes? How
force doesn't go nowhere.
Right, exactly. Like, we're seeing greater incidences of higher cushion shoes, which I'm not knocking, great tool, I use them, but we are dreaming if we think that this little extra cushion is gonna somehow displace the force that is created among gravity and however much you weigh slamming down the sidewalk.
Yeah, right? Now there is a huge difference in terms of like when you're landing, are you utilizing your body in a way that it was meant to distribute the force? Meaning like, is your foot like a cushion, or are you landing in a place where you're relying on your shoe to do that?
I like to think about how like the body is built to like systematically distribute that force to like multiple load bearing areas. But if we get malaligned, then all of a sudden that like too much force is going to specific spots. But what's interesting with the strength perspective is that when we get so lean, the meat comes off the bone. Literally, the bones are handling more force than they should because there's just literally not enough muscle around it. And if you are stress fracturing in your femur,
he just made that into a verb.
Your femur.
You're stress fracturing.
Fracking? Stress fracking?
Yeah.
Oh,
I hate that.
Fracking the femur. The fracking femur.
There's nothing. I mean, stress fractures are kind of just the worst thing because you can't. You just it's a waiting game.
Yeah.
You know.
So what becomes interesting, guys, and I always like to start this almost from the philosophical point before we color in what type of strength training you should be doing, the sets and the reps, the equipment is like, well, I need, depending on my background and my running goals, I need a body that is strong enough to sustain the level of training and performance that I want.
Right.
And those were the conversations we had with Dathan. And he's figured out things that have really allowed him to extend his career pretty far. Because he's trying to get ready for his third Olympic team.
Right.
It really should be 4. But he just missed.
That's right.
2016.
Just think he said 16 years of being an Olympic.
I think he was 4th or something at the marathon trials. Like he was just off of it. And amazing, right? So it's like this has been a big, huge component for him. Not only has this dude been putting on a ton of miles, like not only is he getting older, but his running age is high, circling back to what we were talking about before, because he's been running so much since he was in, high school.
14, 13.
He's been doing 100-mile weeks by the time he's a senior in high school.
He was doing, I remember him doing 70, 80 miles when I was, I thought 40 was insane in high school.
Yeah.
And, and he was, in high school, he was doing the same miles that I was doing in college. It was...
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So some of you guys are starting to chime in on this. Joshua Stringer says strength training equals injury prevention. Very good point. David Friswell, my femur hurts, LOL. Free the femur, guys.
Free the femur.
Yes, QWE, stress fractures in a femur from running is a thing. It is a thing. I would say that more commonly you're going to see stress fractures in your foot.
Tibia, fibia, and your metatarsals.
Metatarsals, those little guys.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. No Paton says, how come you have to be 18 to run a marathon? I plan on running one next year, which will be my first one, but I've always wondered why. You don't have to, but I think it is a liability thing, a general safety thing.
Wait, is that a legal thing? It's not a legal thing.
I don't know.
No, it's not a legal thing. I'm pretty sure there are races you can enter.
To sign off.
That might be true. You can enter a race before 18. What I will say is that marathon training, and not just the marathon itself, but marathon training and that amount of mileage, some people can handle it, but you have to also take into account that when a body is growing, which you are in your adolescence, putting that much stress, especially on the road, on your body it's a hard thing, and your body doesn't grow proportionally. So you're gonna find weird biomechanical problems because your femur may not grow at the same.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why you see adolescents and they look all lanky and awkward, and part of that is just your body does not grow just magically in the same proportion. So as you are growing like that, finding kind of running has a way of finding your biomechanical deficiencies. So all you need to do is drink.
But if you drink Craig's super smoothies.
Hey, this super smoothie is pretty tasty.
The super smoothie is very tasty.
It had yacon syrup.
Oh, I did notice that. I noticed a little something.
Yeah,
it was like the yacon.
It was. I think it's how you pronounce it. It's like a low glycemic. There's some sort of root that they make it out of. It's like a sweetener. It's like a little paste. Found a little bit in my kitchen. I was like, "What's this doing here?"
Yeah,
it was a gift.
Let's get it in there. So anyway, we're thinking about the strength. We're like, okay. I need something that is going to give me a little bit of an extra base to allow me to do the running I want to do. And that's a huge philosophy for what we care about. We're pretty agnostic. I mean, we certainly have our opinions, but we're relatively agnostic. I'm already qualifying my strengths. We're kind of sort of agnostic on the type of strength training you do, provided that it is thoughtfully laid out and fulfills some of those goals.
Yeah. If you're just doing crunches, we have opinions about that too. Meanwhile, if you want to know more about opinions on this, click the Gleam link below. We are, again, if you're just signing in, we are for the first time offering our giveaway to 15 people. Usually only 1 or 2. So 15 people will get something. The grand prize winner gets it for free. The other 14 get it for 70% off.
Yeah.
Which is
our awesome in-depth 8-week strength program. We got athletes in the chat who've done the program, and you can ask their opinions on things. But in terms of checking some boxes for the strength, I want to go a different route with this.
Okay.
Right? I don't want to go blah 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 mobility this is like one of the reasons why we started the run experience, you know, and it's like very personal for us. And I like have my own story with this where I was like, you know, an all-around athlete, kind of mediocre to good athlete in high school, like nothing special.
Yeah. I was pretty special.
You were special. You were pretty. Hey, you know, running at Rice University is no joke. I did not do that. I was on the sailing team, which is not really a sport if you think about it. It's a sport of the mind. Sport of the mind.
It's like a mental math competition.
Oh God, it was like mental, physical chess. Like it was so stressful. You have like, you know, like, okay, so you know how like you get super stressed out before a race?
Yeah.
Right? I'll race 8 times in one day.
Ooh.
And not every race goes well. So it's like, I'm freaking great, and you're just like, I just got crushed, and I'm great, and someone hit me, and this is out the current, and like,
really?
Seagull. Oh yeah, it's stressful. So when I like transitioned out of sailing is with running, I was like, all I need to do is try hard and go in a straight line.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that's
amazing.
actually interesting. It's just the wiggy waggy.
Yeah, totally. Like, obviously there's tactics in running, but like at the time I was like, oh no, fuck it, I'll just go.
What tactics will you be using when you're racing me on next Sunday?
Oh, dude, it's already started.
Oh God.
You don't know what I've been sneaking into your smoothies this whole time.
I really gotta get those t-shirts made. Beat Nate.
I'm gonna get Craig popped at a randomized drug test control.
Oh,
he doesn't know. He doesn't know what's
the
in
yak
here.
on the syrup is.
Oh my God, yak on growth hormone.
I gotta stop drinking and like get some more sleep this week.
Oh my God, that's funny.
These green smoothies can't fix everything.
But you know, guys, when I was like, you know, through college and out of college, I was very excited about this notion that I could really be an athlete.
Yeah.
And it started when I ran the Boston Marathon the first time, sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
And like ran it as a charity, didn't even know you could qualify, grew up racing, it was amazing. Kind of kicked me off down this road of like running. And even when I ran in the beginning, the first marathon, some of you guys can relate to this, like it took me a while to call myself a runner.
Right.
You know, I didn't like identify myself that way in the beginning. But as soon as I did, all of a sudden I took on all the good and all the bad of this identity. Because there's the good stuff like, oh, like you can run far and you can do all this stuff. There's all this cool gear in these magazines. But then what I've since realized is that runners have a list of can'ts. You know, you're a runner, you shouldn't be lifting weights or moving this way. It's dangerous. You're a runner, you shouldn't go skiing on the weekends because it's going to mess your training up.
These are all things that I did, okay? I mean, they're all things I didn't do. I didn't go skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 10 years. I was
like you're a runner, you should look a certain way, you should act and believe certain things, and if you're a runner, if something goes wrong, like, well, tough luck, like running is supposed to hurt. So like all this stuff I kind of absorbed as well, and I like shed all the other stuff I was doing that was probably secretly keeping me well balanced and healthy, and became this very, very narrow athlete. And what I mean by narrow is like I always think that we have a margin of error,
right?
A mess of tolerance. I can move weird, do something wrong. If my body's normally happy, healthy, it's like it's probably pretty wide.
Right.
But you know that athlete when you're injured, like you sneeze and your back hurts.
Yeah.
Or like you run in the wrong shoes, or just on the wrong side of the road, or trail versus not, and all of a sudden your knee hurts versus it doesn't. Yep. That's a very narrow tolerance. So I got to this point where my tolerance was so narrow, like I couldn't run anymore.
Yeah.
And like I did all of the exercises I was supposed to do, but things were not adding up.
Right.
And it wasn't until I really started to relook at this, and I got a lot of help. It wasn't like me coming out of the way, but like really changing the way that I thought of myself as an athlete and being much more, I want to say, aggressive with strength in terms of like, you're not going to hurt yourself, like be smart, right? Good technique, all that good stuff. But like, that's when things really changed.
You know, I did like the injury that got me to come see you, and then eventually what started the running experience was something that it was an adductor pull. You guys might have heard the story already, but the thing that was missing is that as I was resting, trying to heal the injury, I was getting weaker and weaker, and I didn't realize that the weakness around the injury was causing me to re-injure it.
Right.
And this is a pretty extreme case, right? Because I'd been injured for like almost 2 years, and I couldn't heal it. And eventually when I started doing strength training and kind of staying within the non-injury realm of movement, but strengthening myself, I got better really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And there are many, like, there are thousands and thousands of runners out there that are maybe not where I was in terms of injury, but you're somewhere else. You're along the spectrum of like where, maybe you're still running, but you have kind of a nagging injury.
Yeah.
And you are somewhere riding that that wave of like staying healthy, but not, you're not quite injured yet, but something's a little wrong, you can make it to the race. And a lot of times, what is missing is that you're not looking at the full picture of what is causing that. Either it's biomechanical deficiency or it is a strength problem.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, you're not looking at it because no one's ever showed you. Like we learn so much from our fellow runner teammates. Like I learned a lot from what they do. Like there are runners that I looked up to, either like on a broader spectrum, like more nationally from afar, or like my faster training buddies. And I'm gonna always, like, they're always gonna hold more weight. So my running experience is only as good as their knowledge.
Right.
And their knowledge is good in a lot of places, but if there's things that are missing there, that's an issue. And my one beef with this system is that usually the best runners, getting back to Dathan, are like the edge cases. They are the freaks that can sustain 100-mile-plus weeks without breaking down.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they become the coaches. So you have all these people who've like, yeah, I've done all this and it's fine for me. Or the very rare occasional injury that occurs, you're like, yeah, I just do a little bit. Like, it's like a very tiny leak in the boat. It's like, yeah, I just take a piece of gum and plug it. We're all good. Like what if you have a gaping hole in your boat? Like, are you just not allowed to run anymore? And that was like me. Like not all the chewing gum in the world, which I hate.
You don't like chewing gum?
I do not like chewing gum.
At all?
I think it's a waste of time. It's boring. It's a waste of time and money. And for all of you guys who like it, a pox in your houses. No, I'm kidding. I don't feel that strong about it, but I don't really like it. If you see me on the street like, hey Nate, would you like a piece of gum? I'll say no. And I won't smile. I won't say thank you. I'll just say no. I was going to say no. Be on your way.
Somebody had
something else.
A little too much gum in their hair as a kid.
Something. I must have had some like bad
how about gum syrup
memory that I have suppressed. But I just think from the bigger picture with strength guys, like the reason why our knowledge in running sucks is because our thought leaders in the running space grew up without doing it or not a lot of it, and then
things get passed down.
They don't really have it. They
without question. Yeah. Like carbo loading.
Runners are also really and runners guys, I'm sorry, we are runners too, we love this, but it's like as a general category of people, we are really slow to adapt any new technology. Right? Raise your hand if anyone here trains with heart rate. It's been around since the 80s. A lot of elite competitive runners don't train with it at all. They don't see any reason. They just do pace and the track. Triathletes, get on that shit real quick. Right? Power is a new thing. Edward Zollek said about power, we're going through some things. Like, there's all these new technologies, and it's not to say that this replaces you listening to your body and being intuitive and being smart, but it's like, how do we leverage these new technologies? And I think what's interesting with runners in general is like we're sometimes a little behind the curve. Like you guys have just discovered the iPhone.
It's funny for him to make a joke about that technology, but
it is. It is true. It is true.
But I do think that very, like, I was thinking about the icing thing. My brother-in-law was in town, and he's a sports and spine doctor, and his kind of mentality is still the thing of like, hey, if something hurts and it's there's some swelling, to ice it. And look, I'm not going to say categorically that ice is wrong. Like, there are some instances where it's probably the right thing to do, but the initial research that said, hey, here's something that's hurting, it's swelling, put something cold on it, that research has been debunked by the people who did the research in the first place. So it doesn't actually help your tissue health. It doesn't actually, it may reduce swelling, but there's a good question as to whether we want to do that in the first place, since it is the way that your body recovers. Anyhow, all this just to say that there are a lot of things that we believed because we were told them, and because there was some study that we never actually saw, whether it was a good study or bad. Somebody said one time that this is true, and it gets propagated. And so, with the case of ice, this whole idea of RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation. Very cute term, right? And so we did it because it's very easy to pass that along.
Yeah.
And so does it mean it is the best way to recover? Maybe, maybe not.
Now, getting back onto the strength wagon.
You didn't like my divergence?
No. I think it's good actually. It's super true. Like the idea of these ideas that we still hold dear. It takes a while for that to trickle down and to change. But we've been going off on strength training, guys. Like, what are your questions around strength? What type of strength training do you do? We want to get into the weeds. We want to answer your stuff. The common questions we get are, should I strength train before or after my run workouts? What should my strength training look like? If I'm injured, what exercises should we do? How close should I do before the race versus afterwards?
Right.
Where do I fit it in? Should it be weights? Could it be body weight stuff, TRX? Like, we all have our opinions on this. Like, jump in and we'll start to address some of those
We have
things.
a lot of people that are on our Facebook feed right now. I just want to shout out Freddie, Wani, Anne, Larissa, Matthew, Peter. Thank you much for, we concentrate so much on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of people on there. So thank you. Ask us your questions. We have a good 20 minutes left, so I would love to dig in some questions related to strength, related to your training, related to our training.
Totally.
What are questions you have?
Let me see if I can float up here. So Jasmine is asking about the San Francisco Marathon.
Yep.
We could do a quick little sidebar on the San Francisco Marathon, guys. We are going to be there next week. We're both running on Sunday. Our whole team's coming in.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are going to be running on Sunday. But we're going to be at the expo on Friday and Saturday. And we are going to be hosting some official expo things. So if you want to come and meet us, hang out, we're going to do a little pre-run mobility warm-up together, which should be super fun, and we would just love to see you in a high five. So check out the schedule there.
Jasmine asked, why did they change the course map and why are you not running across the bridge anymore? We actually did talk to them about this. So the the city ordinance around how much they can close the bridge changed, and so because there's a smaller part of the bridge for them to run across, they didn't want to pack everybody across the bridge. So some of the races, like I think the half marathon race, is actually not going across the bridge. Here's the thing. If you guys are ever running the SF Marathon, one, there are pictures of it and it looks glorious and it is glorious, but on the day of the marathon, it's early in the morning, the bridge is 99% of the time fogged in.
It's cold and foggy.
It's cold and it's like most bridges, there's a hill. So if you're interested in a fast race, it is to your advantage not to run the bridge, although it does make for good pictures. Go back later in the day, take some pictures. That's a much better way to do it.
I think that's a better way to do it. Like, we run on it a lot. Like, it's not pleasurable anymore. Like, it's
windy.
It's cold.
Hill,
it's windy.
It's cold.
And it
not my
is
favorite part.
Long.
Yeah.
Like, it is like a mile and a half one way. Like, it is super long, and it's just like blah. And it's like, you guys are gonna spend the new course is more beautiful. Like, you're gonna spend more time in the Presidio and Golden Gate Park, which is way better. Right. So you can laugh at all those marathon clowns who are on the fog. And if you are one of those marathon clowns, have fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, guys. All right, so what are the questions we have here? Somebody said talk about the Mark Pro. Mark Pro is an interesting tool.
Ooh, okay, so
what are your thoughts on weight workouts on the same day as easy runs on a marathon training plan? I'll leave that one to you.
Yes, so we have two questions here. So QWE and Tammy Gingrich both are basically asking, similar things. Tammy asks, strength train on quality run days or easy days? Yep. So the way that I like to think about this is first of all, these are like ingredients that I can cook with.
Yep.
Right? In terms of which workout I do first. In general, as a general rule of thumb, and this is something I remember from my triathlon days when you're doing multiple sessions, you're generally going to get a higher quality, both mental and physical effort in your first session. Mm-hmm. You're just fresher, right? The second session, it's either at the end of the day or you're going to be a little bit more tired from the first one. Sometimes you deliberately do that on purpose, but there's always going to be that case. So let's say it's further away from your race and you are really looking to prioritize your strength. It makes sense in a lot of respects to do that strength session first. And if the running you're doing is a little bit less quality focused, like you don't focus as much on the specific intervals, and you're just gonna go out and run potentially on slightly tired legs, the benefit of doing that strength training first is it usually gets you very physically, mechanically woken up. All the muscles that are firing, that need to fire, are fired because you just got them going. So a lot of times you might be tired, but your run mechanics are going to be a little bit more active and aware and better.
It's interesting to think about it from a neurological perspective. This is one of the things I learned from strength training that I did not learn from running, which is that there are two factors that, it's not do you have the muscle and how fast can you deliver oxygen to that muscle, because that's a lot of times what we think about at a base level with running, but it's also like neurologically, is your brain firing that muscle? And there, glutes are kind of like the quintessential thing there, where I could not squeeze, like I have a butt, but I could not squeeze my butt very well because I just did not have the mental pathway to actually know how to do that. And so when it came to, I'm squeezing it right now, just so you know. And
I'm too, actually. There we go.
That's good. I'm not gonna check. But really, learning how to squat and learning how to execute that really did change, because then it translated to my running of wow, how much am I firing this muscle even if it's there?
Yeah, it would translate to better hip position with the better running. So a huge component of the strength, doing it before you get some of those benefits. The strength quality of that session can be higher, especially if you're further away from the race. You need to do that. The other side of this is important, guys. For those of you who are dealing with some sort of injury, well, this strength training before is extra important, because chances are you're injured because something is asleep in your running, right? So doing that session to cue it and wake it up is big. And go back and watch some of the Dathan videos we did on strength and on injury prevention. A huge focus he did with me was on that neuromuscular cueing. And he shares some simple body weight exercises that he does before and after his runs.
Oh, interesting.
So I really, really like that side. As you get closer to your race, for example, it's a week and a half from the SF Marathon. We're not trying to get any stronger for the race. Right? We're not really physiologically going to get more strength that's going to be beneficial for our run.
I am thinking a lot about my hydration and whether I'm taking taking care of myself mobility wise.
We just need to do enough to keep ourselves in a good spot and to support our running. So as we get closer to this time of year, right, when we're in that maybe the 8-week window before the race, and we're healthy and things are good and you're really pushing, well, my strength training can take a little bit more of a backseat to the running.
And then mentally, I mean, I spend 15 to 30 minutes every night just visualizing what it's going to be like to pass Nate around mile 12. I just what is that going to feel like? Oh, it's going to feel great. I'm going to be wearing this Beat Nate shirt. It's going to be amazing. And that type of mental focus really, I feel is going to make a difference. Oh, that's good.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to find one of your really old beat up pairs of shoes and somehow create a little shell that it's brand new and just put it on and there's it just falls apart as soon
falls
as you
flat.
Running.
You know what?
I'd love to do that.
I used to, and you guys know this, I used to run barefoot, so I just kick off the shoes and just keep going.
You're an asshole.
I'm really enjoying this part. I have, my days of really pushing to the point of injury actually. I won't say they're behind me completely, but I don't really view these races as being competitive with myself, and so I'm really enjoying this kind of.
I know. Ribbing.
Yeah, because honestly, I get my ass kicked every time I'm in a race with this guy. He doesn't even wait around to kind of hang out for the first few miles or anything. Just done.
All business, man.
All business.
All business.
I asked him. I remember we were running the 50K race last year, and we've been training together, right? We've been doing all those long runs, and I was like, so how serious are we taking this race? Our team was coming in town. We had a bunch of are we gonna run together? Just kind of and Nate was like, No. I've been training hard for this. I'm going.
Yeah, last fall.
I will see you later. And I was like,
I did. I worked my ass off last fall. Guys. I was like, this is the day. I'll see you. I'll share, a little beer with you at the end.
I passed him around on that first hill. Remember that?
I do. I remember that.
And then about a quarter mile later, it was the last time I ever saw him.
Last time. That's the deal. So getting back to that quick thing, Tammy says strength training on quality run days or easier days. I would probably say the easy days. The quality days, if you're to do anything, I would do like a short, 10 to 15 minute body weight sequence. That's an easy way to divide it up. Edward says generally strength training after you're running is a good idea. I agree with that, with the exception of the things I just said. And guys, sometimes from a schedule standpoint, we don't have control of what is optimal. So sometimes we have to do what we can do. And I tell you what, strength training is better than no strength training.
Yeah.
Right? So even if you have to do it before a run, even if you do it before a quality run, like work with yourself and make it work, right? It's something that can
I remember when I was doing Ironman training and they're like, oh, you have to do 2 sports a day. So do your swim in the morning and then I was like, fuck that. Sorry. I can't swear on our podcast.
F that.
F that, because I didn't have time to do like to do both. I had to work during the day. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pile it all in the morning. And that's what I did. I did brick workouts pretty much every time.
And getting that all in.
Yeah.
So the other thing, guys, we can think about is how many days a week.
Right.
In general, and this is probably a pretty conservative thing, but like 2 days a week, you can get a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's like all runners, healthy. You could do a short run that day. Let's say if you're running 5-6 days a week. For those of you who are only running 3 to 4, definitely 2. And you could like beef those strength sessions up. That could be more of a bigger session for that day. And then you could start to do things that are a little bit more aerobically based if you wanted to. A little bit higher up things, burpees, kettlebell swings is a great way to get into the cross training world.
Yeah.
Do you think about cross training versus strength? Because I feel like they're different.
I do feel they're different. I think of cross training as something that I do like mentally to get away from and then also just to like have a dynamic type of movement. I often think about going to a yoga class or doing something that is pushing me into a different vocabulary of movement where it's not as structured. Running, the thing about running is that it is so linear. Yeah. I like this question right here from GDK Mouse.
Yeah.
Should runners use weights when stretching and exercising the legs, etc.? I think this is, so one of the things here is just that most of us don't realize how much force you can get out of just using body weight. So before I met Nate and before I started kind of the modality of stuff which we teach you guys, in order for me to get a really good workout from like upper body, I could do like pull-ups and push-ups, but from a weight perspective on the legs, like, okay, I can do some air squats, and I guess if I do enough of them, I get tired. But man, there are so many versions of all of those exercises that can really stress and put a lot of, so single leg stuff as an example.
Step ups, step squats, single leg squats where you go very deep, something called a pistol squat. Like you can really what you're saying is that you can really leverage your full body weight from a strength standpoint. And so there's a lot there.
The nice thing about that is it's not an isolating movement. You are having to stabilize. Like single leg stuff is so great because you have to stabilize your hips, you have to stabilize your core and your kind of torso and back.
Yeah.
And you can do these negative. I remember one of the first exercises he ever gave me was coming down off a box and just being like having to hold myself in a position and go slowly down,
negative,
and then
control.
as opposed to just like flopping down, which is what I was doing. And there's an impressive amount of, so don't feel that weights are like table stakes for kind of getting into strength workouts.
Right.
You can definitely get great, and all of our programs, which is a nice plug for the training club.
Yeah.
All of our programs outside of the strength training program
are built around body weight because we wanted to give you guys that access. And of course the 8-week running strength program that has options, and it's like it's built around the equipment you would find either in a garage gym or in a real gym, and dumbbells, kettlebell, barbell, a box, kind of some simple stuff. I wanted to get into Sledge and Wedge golf's questions. Do you think hypertrophy or intensity for a marathoner, reps versus weight? Saw your interview on Barbell Stroke from years ago. It's very good. Thanks, my man. So
wasn't I on that one too?
This might have been, I don't know if that's a pre-Craig. That might have been a pre-Craig situation.
Pre-Craig? I don't even know what that means. Pre-Craig.
There's nothing before you.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's a big void.
So, in terms of the types of volume we should do, I find that if we're getting any type of barbell work in, for a lot of reasons, I would rather have you go slightly higher weight, lower reps.
Right.
3 to 5 reps or 3 to 5 sets in the, 4 to 6, range or even a little bit lower is really good. Number one, when you lift heavier weights, all of a sudden you're not thinking about the email you have to write later. You're not talking to your friends. You're like, shit, this is heavy. Right. Just the fact that you think, oh man, there's a little bit more risk here means that you got to be all in. Ideally, you're doing this under with some degree of foundation in terms of how to move. You've warmed up well getting into it. It's like sprinting. I'm not going to show up at the track and immediately go. I might get a 15-minute warm up and I do some drills and some progression things before I go for the hard stuff. So the heavier weight's the same. But once I do that, mechanically, everything is firing and I get much better feedback on my positions when I've got a little more weight on the bar. Right? I can't tell how good my squatting is if I'm squatting with a PVC pipe. Right. But as soon as I have 65 or 95 pounds or 135, I start to become very aware of what my feet, my ankle, my knees and hips are supposed to do. Yep. And I start to notice when I lose position. So a huge teaching tool, a little bit of weight, I still stay on the safe side of things, but I get you a little nervous. Yeah. Right? I get you on where all of a sudden with a heavy weight you are stabilizing like crazy, and then you lift and you're like, holy shit. And then the brain is like, bridge to engine room, more power. Yeah. Right? So we get all of the benefits from that. The higher rep stuff, it can be helpful, but it has to be built upon the foundation of really good mechanics. The really good mechanics come from the exposure to the heavier stuff. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise what happens is if you have suboptimal mechanics and you layer on a ton of volume, you're just reinforcing suboptimal mechanics. Right. And that usually, when we get injured, that's what got us in trouble in the first place. Interesting. So that's how I like to think about that stuff.
And running, because it is such a linear thing, you can definitely become asymmetric in terms of, like, if you have a biomechanical deficiency, you're not doing all these different things, so you can end up like, your hamstrings are tight, and so it changes your form, and they can kind of exacerbate the problem in the first place. And I definitely had that problem, like, where I used to, I don't know if you guys can see my hips, but I used to dump my hips, and I used to stand like this, right? And it had it was
arched
all kinds
low
of
back,
problems.
excessively arched low back,
hamstring tightness, and like I would overuse parts of my musculature depending on how my stride was going. So
yeah, some of you guys are talking about deadlifts. We did a great video. Actually, I took Elizabeth Inpine through the deadlift video. It's like 17 minutes long. Like, we went deep. We showed you how to do it with the barbell, with dumbbells, what it looks good, what not look good, and really what it should feel like. Because a lot of times you're not gonna have someone watching you. Hey guys, I don't want to scare you with these things. Sometimes it's
you say deadlift and people are like, oh, that's a very Olympic
all of these things are very approachable. Like, as a coach in the gym, I can get people doing these things in the first 20 minutes very safely. Yeah. The good news is, try it out with a PVC pipe. You're not gonna even if you mess it up a little bit, it's gonna be fine. And just step the weight up a little bit.
The thing that I learned about some of these movements is realizing that deadlifting doesn't mean like, hey, I'm going in and like, it's more that I am practicing picking things up off the ground. Yep. Which means that when I pick up a box off the ground or I pick up my shoes off the ground, like, how am I practicing that movement? And if I'm not good at that movement with even just a little bit of weight, chances are I'm compromising myself in everyday positions, and whatever that relatedness is to my athletic activity, so running,
like we aren't just runners. You might have to pick your kids up one day. Yeah. You might have to put that heavy bag in that overhead plane compartment. Like, you might have to help move your friend's couch, as we like to example. Like, we do need to be able to move, right? And that is a huge component, guys. Just that, like, standard. We really think that as runners, we have let our standards of movement slip so much. Right? They're way down here. We're eating like really gross, like canned, mushy tomatoes as opposed to the fresh stuff.
Early girl California tomatoes. It is almost early girl season, guys.
Oh man, you're excited?
I'm very excited.
I don't know that much about tomatoes, but
early girl tomatoes are the bee's knees. I got the first batch a couple weeks ago. And my friend Jess is an excellent chef. She's been teaching me to cook starting last year, and I just saw picked up a bunch of them at the farmer's market, which means that the season is upon us. one of the benefits of being in California is the produce, and I did not realize this until recently.
It really is lovely.
It's amazing.
It is just delightful.
So come visit. Come meet us at the SF Marathon. Guys, I want to just remind you again that the Gleam link is below.
That's right.
There are enough, there are, what, probably 100 people on right now. 15 of you guys are going to win something. 14 of you will win 70% off of our training program, which makes it less than 30 bucks.
Yep.
And one grand prize winner will get it for free.
That is right.
And if we like this, maybe we'll do it more often.
Totally. We are almost ready to do our little giveaway here. I want to answer one more quick question. GDK Mouse talks about, I've been told that I need to do exercises for my glutes. Are squats the only exercises you can do? No, because I want to bring this question up because if we think about exercises for specific muscles in certain ways, we're only thinking about half the equation. I want to say you're almost thinking about it wrong, but it's not the full thing. There are accessory movements that we can do to highlight those muscles. Like you could do bridges, single leg bridges. You could get into an arch body position where you're having to extend your legs up. Reverse planks are really good. Push-ups, lunges, step-ups, split squats are also really good. And when you get to the bigger picture movements, like a squat or a deadlift or even a lunge, you have multi-joint, full body movements happening. All muscles are firing as they should, right?
Yeah.
Your glutes are there for a reason because they're meant to do stuff. And they're doing stuff right now. It's not like they're not firing. They're just not firing optimally. So at one level, you want to do some little micro movements. You could literally poke your butt just to get that little proprioceptive feel. I know, I'm not gonna.
No molesting.
Boundaries, Craig.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
We've been together for a long time now.
And then you can build that up with the bigger picture stuff. Yeah. But hopefully, guys, you like this conversation around strength. We've got part 2 of our Should Marathoners Lift Weights. That's coming out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then part 3 is going to come out on Monday. We're going to get a lot more into the weeds with specific examples. I'm in a gym. I'm lifting. I'm showing you guys some stuff. It's one of our favorite subjects. It's near and dear to our heart, so we're super stoked you guys are here. Should we do our
giveaway?
Little giveaway.
Guys, this is the giveaway. We had a lot of entries into this for the Strike Movement free shoes. I'm going to show you my shoes. Hold on, they just came in the mail.
Oh, let's go get them. I will do the drawing. We've got 2 lucky winners from last week.
No, we got 3, honestly, because I just won.
Oh my goodness, there we go.
These are the intervals.
They are lovely. I was just really running them this morning.
Mark, if you're watching this, thank you very much for sending these to me.
Thank you.
These are great. I haven't worn them yet.
And if you want to learn more about Strike shoes, watch the recording of last week's live show, because we had Mark, the founder of Strike Movement, on here.
These have really, I mean, I love the first intervals.
Yeah.
I wore them into the ground, but these have actually improved quite a bit.
Yeah, they really are. They're always getting better. Yeah. Really passionate about...
The uppers are really nice.
Really passionate about his shoes. The conversation gets into the mechanics pretty quick, but you can tell he really cares. So, drum roll, our 2 winners are... Dun, 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 dun. We have Albin George. All the way...
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me see this again. So we're not sure that we can send there.
Let me see here.
Yeah, let me see. Let's see what we do this one. Yeah, there you go.
Hold on here, guys. Sorry about this.
There we go. And this one?
Here we go.
Let me try again.
Hold on, guys. Our machine is just thinking here as it drums through all the names. So, one of our winners is a Mr. Glenn Oppenheim from Malibu, California.
There we go. And Jacqueline McLean.
Jacqueline McCann.
From Gainesville, Florida.
From Gainesville, Florida. You 2 are our lucky winners for our Strike Movements. For those of you guys who didn't win, you will be winners if you check out the Strike Movement website.
And we have, did we not get a discount?
That's coming.
So guys, one of the things I want to stress is we have an ever-increasing portion of our training club where we're getting discounts for all kinds of companies that we talk about and ones that we haven't talked about. discounts within our training club. So if you're in our training club, you can easily make back a bunch of the money that you spent on the training club just by getting some of the discounts on your shoes. One of the very easy ones is Running Warehouse. We have a partnership with, so like all running shoes, you can kind of jump in there and take advantage. So definitely check that out, and Strike Movement, if it's not there already, I know Holly's working on it, we're gonna get it for you. So if you are a training club member, you can get a discount on these as is.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, guys.
Awesome.
Anyway, always a pleasure. Thank you. We're 2 minutes over. It means we need to sign off.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back again next week for the final show before the showdown.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
The final show before the showdown and a half, and then you guys have to see how we do, and then we'll get to do the drawing to see who wins the strength program.
Yep. Guys, we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for signing in. Wait for the drop. Hold on. Here goes the, I hope you guys liked the starting scene where we showed our new video around the injury prevention product. If you don't, we'll rewind to the beginning, check it out. Here we go.